at one point. Like, I don't know if you were gonna edit that or not, or
I already got it. Yeah,
okay.
I edited it out already. Yeah, I fixed it. But yeah, I hit the mute and you covered for me super good. Like you took over right then when I hit mute. I was like,
Yeah, like I
yes.
asked the question. Yeah.
No, that's I was like, dude, we're like in sync
Yeah.
here. That was perfect.
Awesome.
Hey, everybody, we are back. We are getting ready to record Friday's podcast. I'm hit the tweet
Did you see
here.
that tweet I sent you? Like this tiny Taco Bell that was in San
Yeah,
Diego?
so dude, I love and plus I love that logo. That
Yeah.
old-fashioned logo just makes me crave
Yeah.
Mexican food.
I'm
So
just gonna
bad.
book another trip to San Diego just so I can see that tiny
So is that
Taco
like
Bell.
is it like at a park or something? What is that?
I think it's at a Taco Bell. So it's like I'm gonna do some research. It was just randomly like someone retweeted it in my Twitter feed today. Like, what are the
Oh, I
chances?
didn't. Oh, I thought you took that picture while you were there.
No. It was from a tweet I saw. So I was like, well, I got to go back and see this now. So I'm guessing like the original Taco Bell is like from San Diego.
Would make sense. Oh, they just put Flaherty on the 60-day IL. I knew that was going to happen. Yes, we have a matching shirt.
Dude,
still.
that makes me want to book. It makes me want to book a wish cruise so bad after hearing all that. Oh my gosh. It's so much money though. The time off. Like
I know. I got to rein it in. Dude, I almost had to buy an air conditioner last night.
dude, but all you had to do was replace a filter. How awesome is that?
Dude, I was like, for once it was a $2 and like 28 cents fix.
So on that note alone, you can go down to August for a couple days.
Yeah, maybe if I can get the spousal permission. Yeah, this is for Monkey Man.
Oh yeah.
This is my bobblehead from Dodger Stadium. Little CT3.
I think Monkey Man will be disappointed that we did not go to Shakey's. We did not try those potato things. Next time, no.
I drove past a couple Shakey's, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I was lost, and so I didn't want to stop. And then I got my little helmet. My big helmet's over there that I have my nachos in. This was my ice cream helmet. And Mallory's got a Dodgers sweatshirt hoodie and a Dodgers hat now. So we are Dodgered out in this house.
But I did go to Old Town Mexican Cafe or whatever, and that place was legit good. That was awesome.
We gotta talk about that kind of stuff. The Dodgers are playing the Cardinals tonight, so I can't have any of this stuff on my person for the next 3 days because they're in St. Louis. I'm like, man, I'm getting like Dodgered out all over the place.
Yeah.
All right, how about we do a podcast? All right, let's do this. Because I don't want to waste any of the good stuff.
Yeah, those watching, like I have like a weird delay on my camera, so you might hear my talking might not interact with my hand signals. Yes.
He cannot make sharp moves.
We need subtitles for me.
That's all. And we did plan our outfits.
We did not plan these outfits.
No, we did not. But we both love these shirts, so I knew we both have them on. Because I told Pam, I was like, "Did you wash my Disneyland shirt? Because I need it for the podcast tomorrow." So she washed it. Yes, Jonathan, come to St. Louis. I'll take good care of you here. All right, 21-20.
Just don't eat the pizza in St. Louis.
Oh my God, no! I'm taking them to Happy Joe's for taco pizza. So good. So good. So good.
The cheese you guys put on that pizza, though, I can. It's so weird. It's so weird.
I know. It's Provel. Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 2120 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you. Hope you had a tremendous week and you're wrapping up a very successful week and you're ready for a great weekend with friends and family and have something fun on the agenda. Myself, I'm taking advantage of my Father's Day gift from my family. We're going to a Cardinals game tomorrow. It's going to be the Cardinals and the Reds. Why the Reds? Because my family wanted to make sure that we saw a winner. No, just kidding, Reds fans. Easy. Cardinals haven't been playing that great either. So who knows? This could be like a 1-0 terrible game. I don't know, but it is mystery player jersey day. That's why we're going, because I have a 1 in 4 chance of getting a Wainwright jersey. But that just means because we have 4 tickets for, the 4 of us. Paige might be in town. The 1 in 4 chance means I will not get a Wainwright jersey. That never happened because he's my favorite all-time player. So that's just how that always shakes out. We'll probably get 4. I don't even know, like Ted Simmons jerseys or something. That's how it's going to roll because that's one of the choices. But anyway, we're here not to talk Cardinal baseball. We're here to talk about honestly the most epic vacation. This was, and again, I got to give this warning. My most current stay, my most current vacation is always my favorite. Like if you ask me what's your favorite resort, if I just got back from Coronado Springs, like oh god, Coronado is the greatest thing of all time. Pop Century. When I just get back from, I love pop. Like that is just how my brain works. But I don't think it's that this time. I mean, we'll talk about it. But joining me today, my co-conspirator on this trip, and he really made this trip a lot better for me with his experience and the friendship that we have is just a great time with our families together. Your friend and mine, Scotty G. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Mike, I'm going to try to do my best Ricky here. All right. Happy Friday. She always like enunciates it so weird. So I want to do that for Ricky since she couldn't make it today. Yes. Happy Friday, Mike. So excited to talk Disneyland. Yeah, you just hit it. Like whenever you come back off a trip, whether it's like a cruise line or whatever, you're like, that's my favorite, But man, Disneyland is one of my most favorite places in the world. And I'm happy to talk about that and some other pieces of Southern California with you today. It's going to be a good Friday.
So I wanted to, and we could have done without the Ricky intro, but we're glad that Ricky will be back next week, and we'll get that again for the next 7 years or whatever we have here. But yeah, we'll have that. So if you missed that, it'll be back soon. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Disneyland trip. We're going to get into all the stuff that we did as much as we can in the next 45 minutes or so. The funny thing is we did a lot together, but we also did a lot separately too. So we have kind of parallel vacations, but also separate vacations, which I think is going to make for an interesting trip. But people have been asking me constantly, like, what was your impression of Disneyland? And this was my first time out there. And the one thing I want to say off the top of the show is that I am 100% kicking myself at this point. I mean, I am absolutely kicking myself for not getting out to Disneyland sooner. I mean, I have been hearing for a good decade, Mike, you got to go to Disneyland. I mean, I'd heard that to the point ad nauseum from people. And I just kind of blew it off because I said, Walt Disney World is amazing. Like it's got 4 theme parks. It's got 22 hotels. It's got water parks. It's got, Disney Springs. It's got monorails and Skyliners and all that. And I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't like Walt Disney World. I love Walt Disney World. Can't wait to get back in November for Wine and Dine. But again, it's one of those things until you experience something. I had this impression that Disneyland was going to be I hate to say this. This was what I was thinking. This was in the back of my mind that when I got to Disneyland, I was going to be disappointed because Disneyland is on like a main urban street, that it was going to feel somewhat less of a resort. It was going to feel somewhat less of a theme park. I know the history was out there, but I thought that I would be over that quickly. And I'd be like, I can't deal with like a Disney and then an IHOP being that close, that I can see the real world when I'm on the monorail. I can't, my brain couldn't meld those two because I've only been to Walt Disney World where you're isolated. You are truly in a bubble down there. That did not happen. Now we did, just to preface this, we stayed once we got there at the Disneyland Hotel for 7 nights. So we pretty much stayed in the Disneyland bubble. Except for one day, we drove to LA, we drove to the beach, we drove to Rodeo Drive. Mallory wanted to see that. That was not me. And we went to a Dodgers game, which was awesome. So we did go outside the bubble for one day with a rental car. But let's kind of so I was blown away. I fell in love with the place. I almost cried when we left. I mean, we'll get into some of the more feelings with that. But initially, I just want you to know, with all caps, Disneyland. I absolutely love Disneyland. It's amazing. I mean, and again, the one thing I kept saying was, God, how did I not run a race out here? For one thing, the weather is perfect. Like it was like I've run in dreadful conditions in Florida. Like the whole time we were out there, it was gorgeous. Like why? How did I never run it?
And it does get hot there though. I've been there on some hot trips.
It's windy. Yeah. There was that one time where the winds were blowing like 90 miles an hour, signs were blowing. I heard about all those stories. But if they ever bring the races back, and I know it'd be a lottery to get into those races at this point if they ever bring them back, but I am one of those people that's going to put their name in the hat no matter what cost. I'm going to try to run a race out there. Anyway, so let's talk about the logistics of our trip for people that want to kind of, because I've been hearing this from so many of our listeners, like, oh, they're in the same boat I was. I've gone to Walt Disney World 17 times, and I've always thought about Disneyland. but I've never really given it, 100% effort. I've never gone to Disneyland. Now I'm on the other side of that, and I'm like, oh, I got to kind of alternate now. I'm going to go to World Land. I think at this point, maybe, World like 2 to 1 probably, but I will make sure I go back to Disneyland at least every other year, something like that at least. But okay, so you flew, so we did different arrivals. You got there first, and you, instead of going into Anaheim, like something like LAX or something like that, you flew into San Diego. So give us your rationale and how your trip started.
Yeah, so I just like to venture out from Michigan to California, like granted I could just do all Disneyland, but if I'm going to travel that far, I like to throw in a couple extra things, along the way. So that's why my family likes to visit San Diego. I think it's one of the most gorgeous cities in the world that I've ever been to. I haven't been to many places, but let's be real. But like, I love San Diego. I love their zoo. I love all the beaches, just that whole vibe, Little Italy and everything. So we like to go to San Diego. But what's funny, Mike, we've never flown to San Diego. We've kind of like have made like Anaheim normally like our base, and we would drive down to San Diego, then come back up for the rest of our trip. But this time we actually flew to San Diego, and I love that airport. You want to talk about a cool airport, Mike? It's like right right in the city, basically, like wherever you're at, like you're like, it feels like you can almost like touch a plane as it's like coming in for a landing. Like it's so awesome. And then like like the car rental place is like so open air, you can just like see like the bay and the ocean from the distance, and it is just a very gorgeous airport. It's really easy to maneuver. We had to do a shuttle to get to the rental car, which I think you see a lot in California, especially like LAX. I know you'll talk about Long Beach. I think your experience was a little bit different with getting the car than mine, but yeah, we just love that whole area, and we like the zoo. And we just spent a couple of days just kind of chilling in San Diego. We stayed at a Lowe's hotel on those that are familiar with Universal and Disney might recognize that name. We stayed at the Lowe's Hotel on Coronado Island, which is right there by San Diego. Gorgeous, gorgeous hotel, gorgeous area. If you're trying to do some add-ons to your Disneyland trip, like my family likes to do, if you're going to be out there for like a week and you want to do 4 days at Disneyland, just sprinkle in some other things, I can't recommend San Diego enough. Just a gorgeous area.
So that was cool. You were out there like 24 hours before I was, like sending all these pictures of the beach. And I mean, San Diego just looked gorgeous. I'm like, you're killing me. You got out there
and all the
me,
there's like so many cool restaurants. There's like their Old Town district, which has like, it's kind of like their Mexican food area. Like all this like great culture in there. The Little Italy, which I've been to before on this trip before. We went back again, spent a lot of time there. One day they had a cool farmers market that was going on. We kind of felt like a local, like shopping at the farmers market. It's just, and the beaches, right? There's so many beaches, and they're known for like that spectacular zoo, which you can spend multiple days at the zoo. Then they have like another safari park that my family's never even done. I mean, you could spend a week just in San Diego, really. But yeah, it was just so awesome. And I know you're talking about your venture too outside of Disneyland, but you did yours kind of like in the middle of the trip. We started with ours by going to San Diego first.
And real quick, I want to send some shout outs to William and Jessica up in Oregon, who gave countless tips that made my trip better. Helped me out. Jonathan Ramirez, originally from LA, gave me some tips for our trip into the big city there. And I mean, LA is a big city. It's huge. We saw it from the Griffith Observatory on that day. We were looking out there. I mean, that is a huge metropolitan area. So it was just countless other people that I wish I could thank everybody here on the show. It'd be a super long show if I did. But thanks to everybody who sent the tips via email, via Twitter, via Instagram. They were all noted. I made a huge note in my iPad that it was on my iPhone and that I was always referring to throughout the trip. Like, can't miss this, got to do that. And I was just kind of marking things off. So I really, really appreciate everybody kind of jumping in and helping make this trip super special for me. But kind of on the beginning of the trip for me, we flew into Long Beach Airport. I picked it again. When I got excited about this, booking this Disneyland trip, I booked it on April 1st. No joke, I did. And so I booked it, and then I went to Pam Forrester and I said, I don't even know where to fly in. Like, where do I fly in? She goes, look at 3 airports. She said, look at LAX, look at John Wayne, and look at Long Beach. And so I always fly Southwest out of St. Louis. I looked at those 3 and going into and I didn't know anything. I just knew LAX was a big airport because I'd heard it. You hear about that in the media. My dad always flies into there for the Rams. I kind of wanted to fly in there for the experience of it. My dad still says I need to fly to LAX once just to see it all. The I've seen the architecture of it, and I'd like to see that in person. We did drive past it though, when we were out and about. But the thing is, Long Beach, it is like going back in time. It is crazy. So it's a teeny tiny airport, but big airplanes can still land there. We were on obviously Southwest 737, and we had to fly to Denver. So this is also my first time ever connecting. We were in the Denver airport 10 minutes. We had enough time to get off the plane because we were delayed out of St. Louis. We had enough time to get off the plane, run to the restroom, and they were already lining up to get on the second leg of the plane into Long Beach. And I found a stand that had packaged turkey sandwiches. I bought 2 of those, just told they throw them in the bag, and boom, we were getting on the plane. It was awesome. It felt like Amazing Race. I loved it. So anyway, we get into.
Did you really love it though?
I kind of did, because I've kind of always wanted to be on Amazing Race, and that was I mean, once I was sitting down on the plane, I knew I hadn't missed it, because I wouldn't care if I missed it coming home. Who cares? But going to Disneyland, I really cared, because I don't want to miss a minute of this trip. Anyway, so we got to see, the thing is, like, I've never flown west, like the different terrain. I don't know if you do this often, you probably take this for granted, but seeing things like the desert. We flew over Zion National Park in Utah, I believe. I mean, you can see that red and the rocks down there in that little portion of the state, and you see the mountains. And, as you're coming into California, how the terrain changes in the ocean. It was just, I mean, our country's beautiful. And I think sometimes we don't think about that. So that was a part of the trip for me too. But then landing in Long Beach, I mean, I knew this because people had told me this, but I mean, they for real, you don't get a jetway at Long Beach. Like, 2 dudes like rolled out some steps and jammed them up against the plane, and you walk out on some stairs right onto the tarmac. You can take selfies with the plane. I did both times, because why not? And then you go get your bags. It's open air. Where you get your bags at the airport, it's like the luggage carousel's outside. And then you literally walk about 100 feet across the way into like a trailer where all the car rental places are, and you pick up your car. No shuttle. I mean, it's 100 feet across the street, and you get your car and you're out of there. And it was only 26 minutes to Disneyland Resort, which is about it's a little bit further than our house to our airport here in St. Louis. But I mean, not bad at all. No traffic either way. Getting there, going home. We only had 12 people in front of us for TSA. So if you're thinking about going into flying into, to Disneyland, Long Beach is an option. I loved it. It gives you that kind of old timey feel. So lots of options, but Long Beach, don't poo-poo that. It was cool. It was definitely different than any airport I haven't been to a lot of airports. Let me give you that, but it was fun. So let's hit the Disneyland Resort hotel stay. God, I love this hotel. I mean, it's a deluxe hotel. It's nice. So give your thoughts. Review the Disneyland Hotel from your perspective.
So it just has everything that you would want for as a Disney fan. It's like the Disney fan hotel is kind of how I look at it. You're like, there's artwork everywhere of Walt. You walk in, they have this cool. Did you see the interactive map? Because I never actually explored the lobby with you because you were in a different building than me. Like, so for instance, I'll talk about that. There's 3 main lobbies, right? There's 3 towers. There's the Fantasy Tower, Adventure Tower, and Frontier Tower. You were in Frontier, if I recall, right, Mike? Yep. And I was in the main Fantasy Tower. So it's kind of funny. We our families had like a little meeting spot that we always met outside, but we were like never really in each other's tower. But in the main tower, the Fantasy Tower, you got this great interactive map as you walk in. There's artwork everywhere of like Walt and like some historic photos that like where he's like standing on Main Street looking down at like a cast member like working on the railroad track or like the track that goes up Main Street. Like that's an iconic photo. You see that. Just so many cool things. But the room, so in the Fantasyland suite, there's like artwork of Fantasyland attractions. Like we had a piece of the teacups like in our restroom, but just like the size of the room it's so much larger than like what you would think. Even like at a deluxe at Walt Disney World, I feel like it felt roomier to me. It had all the great amenities. It had we didn't do like the standard view. We did like the middle one. There's like a standard. There's like a deluxe view, and then there's something in the middle. I think that's what we did. But we had a cool view of the pool that we could look down on. But I know you're going to talk when you talk about your room specifically. But there's the headboard, and do you want to talk about the magical headboard, the Wish Goodnight?
Yes, that's one of those things that if you ever stayed in a royal guest room at Riverside, you have the fiber optic lights in the headboard, but you have this all the way across the length of the room that spans from both beds. And so we were there for 7 nights, and Mallory's 14, but every night before we went to sleep, she said, you got to play the song. And so you flip the switch in the table there in the middle of the 2 beds, and it plays A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes. The lights light up and twinkle, and you can actually leave the light. I don't know if this is, I mean, this is how it was in our room. The lights stay on all night. Like we kept them on the whole night. I mean, I wasn't paying the bill, I didn't care for burning electricity. I was paying.
The cast members do it too. So I would always turn it off like before we leave, for the room. I would kind of start the day with it and end the day with it. But then I'd come back, for a midday break and it would be back on. So I think even the cast members like hitting that button even while they're cleaning the rooms and they listen to it, then they forget to turn it off. At least ours was, but
right. And so it was just, it was just a nice room. We had a standard view room, but we could look out of our room and see into Radiator Springs over at DCA, which was cool. At first I was so excited. The first time I was like, I see mountains, it's Galaxy's Edge, but it wasn't. It was Radiator Springs. We could see the Guardians ride, the old tower. So, of course we're looking out over a parking lot because we had standard view because of the rate I booked. But if you looked out to the side, you could see that. It was just, and of course, again, I think a lot of people take this for granted, but if you look beyond the parking lot, you can see mountains. Like you can see mountains on the horizon, which to us, like it blew us away the entire time. The 7 nights we kept looking out there like, oh, there's mountains out there.
Me too. I just love seeing mountains. So I talked about like in the Fantasyland Tower, how it's like themed. You see like Fantasyland attraction artwork, things like that. In the restrooms, there was like this Fantasyland like e-ticket, like wallpaper. Like you saw similar stuff in Frontier Tower as well, right? That was focused on Frontierland, right?
Right. I mean, in the lobby, there was a huge mock-up of Big Thunder Mountain, the ride and basically Frontierland as a whole. And the thing about, I was lucky because the Frontier Tower is where the fitness center is. So that was kind of nice for me, just dumb luck that it was down the bottom of that tower. So I could just go down to the treadmill every morning. So that worked out well for me. But yeah, it was great. And of course, at this hotel, you have some nice shopping. They have kind of a little sundry store right there in the main lobby. And then they have a Fantasia store, I believe it's called, kind of the bigger gift shop, which is where we got these stylish shirts that you see here on the video. But also, of course, at this, it's kind of the iconic things of where you want to stay at the Disneyland Hotel. Besides, you can walk to the parks and stuff like that. The pool was very nice. You spent more time at the pool than I did. We had a good day there. Mallory was at the pool a lot, but it has that iconic monorail slide. We did that together. We got some video on Instagram. Again, hashtag BOGP at DL. You can see all the pictures, all the videos, all the reels. We have a lot of stuff up there, but I mean, what were your thoughts of as far as like the pool and stuff like that?
The pool is great. So there's like 2 pools. There's the e-ticket pool, which is kind of the bigger one. And what's awesome, like it has like where you see like the pool tile, like on the edge, it has like e-tickets on it, which like, that's just an awesome, like Disney, like detail touch that I love. Cause then when you transfer over to the D ticket, it shows the D tickets in the pool. So very cool. And then there's like a smaller like splash area. You have the slide. You had like the big red monorail slide that you talked about that me and Mallory did together. I did it a couple other times as well. Then there's like a medium-sized slide. If you got a youngster that, or maybe like a spouse or a partner that's just too afraid of the bigger one, there's like a medium slide. That's the yellow one. Then they have like a kiddie slide too. So great features there. You can do the bar and food service there too. So every time I would lounge out, because I would go in and out of the pool, we'd stay for a couple of hours. You can order off, like a cocktail menu, and they just come out and serve it to you, just charge it to your room. Super easy. You can get food too. So like the Trader Sam's, like long beans are really popular, right? Those fried, like green beans. So we order some of those, or some chicken tenders sometimes. Like it's just so magical. Like you're in this great pool. There's palm trees everywhere. There's a good amount of shade. You're being served. But the problem is, Mike, and we talked about this a little bit, there's just not enough lounge chairs. Right. Like everyone is at that pool. I feel like in the prime of day.
Yeah, that pool's packed, and they're building a DVC tower right now there, and so they're going to have to address that once that tower comes online. Because I mean, I'm guessing the capacity will go up by 25% because it's it'll be a 4th tower.
They have to do something about that. I thought about that too. There's one day where I just floated in the pool for like a half hour, just like looking around, and I was looking at the tower, just thinking, and just in ultimate relaxation mode. And I started thinking about like, they have to add another pool here and more chairs, because it's going to get nasty there. I thought about actually before our trip, booking a cabana, because that was an option, and I kind of wish I would have. looking back at it now because of the chair situation. But those cabanas were packed every day. Like they looked so comfortable, like you would see at Walt Disney World resorts too. But just a fantastic pool area. And just a quick note too about the Disneyland Hotel. You talked about the fitness center, how it was in your building. That's a great option. Running around like other resorts at Walt Disney World, you can find like a good path, right? Where you can run outside like a Pop Century, Yacht and Beach and all those areas. There's not really a good area to run at the Disneyland Hotel, like on the main property. But I went off property a little bit every day, and it wasn't that challenging. You just kind of go through the parking lot, then you kind of get on a main road and you run by, the Grand California and Paradise Pier. You can kind of get on Catella Drive. So there is a good route that you could run if you want to leave the property, if you don't want to run on a treadmill as well. You just can't do it really on site. I know.
I didn't know where I was going. So it was, and I was that's one of those things like I was running at like 4:45 in the morning
Right.
before it was light. And I was like, I don't know where I'm going. I just get on the treadmill because I was like, I don't want to get hit by a car and I don't want to get
How was
lost.
the fitness center though?
That was good. It was, I mean, it was basic. I mean, it wasn't anything. It was just like, it was the same treadmills I have at Yacht Club because I ran on the same treadmills when I was down for the Cosmic Rewind event. I know because it's got, I mean, the cool treadmills because they have like the in-room TV like built in right there, so you can watch it if you want. So real quick, so you got Trader Sam's there. You took advantage of Trader Sam's. I took advantage of Tangaroa Terrace. Had a nice breakfast burrito there. Rocking. They have good options there. Also, you have Goofy's Kitchen, which you guys did as well. So I want to get into the parks and stuff, but I mean, real quick thoughts on because I mean, the breakfast burrito really overall, this main area of Disneyland Hotel, like the center part of it, has a very Polynesian resort feel to it. I mean, it's like staying very much feel of the Poly there with the tiki torches and the Trader Sam's and Tangaroa Terrace and all that stuff. But real quick about the dining and drinking.
I know I could go so long time talking just about the Disneyland Hotel, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, there's some great options, and it does feel very Polynesian. Like even like the background loops is kind of like a Polynesian. But yeah, Trader Sam's, you got the OG Trader Sam's. It's so hard to get in there. Nice thing is though, you can book a reservation, unlike the one in Florida. But there's like 6 tables, you know what I mean? And then like some bar stools. Like it's so hard to get in there. Fortunately, I was able to get in. I brought home a couple new tiki mugs, which is nice. You do have Goofy's Kitchen, which is a good option, to do. Actually, they do all 3 meals. They do a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I did breakfast, and it was like a madhouse. Like you had mac and cheese with scrambled eggs mixed inside. It was just like Goofy really took over the menu. Hence Goofy's Kitchen. So that was pretty fun. The signature restaurant is missing though. So Steakhouse 55, which I know a lot of Walt Disney World fans are familiar with, Steakhouse 71, kind of very similar vibe, is just closed right now. And that was where I had my first ever like meal at Disneyland. On our first trip, we stayed at the Disneyland Hotel. It was Elizabeth's 30th birthday. We went and had a nice meal at Steakhouse 55. Just some really great memories there. And it kind of bummed me because it's such an iconic spot. Walt was there. I would love for them to reopen that. I don't know what their future plans are, but hopefully in the future they'll reopen that as another option as well.
All right, so I will say we got there. I was there for the theme parks. I was there for the Disneyland park specifically. The history of it. This is where it all started. This is what Walt built, and I wanted to be there. And so the first, we got there the first day. Scott's family was not coming up until the second day. And again, we talked about this on the live call-in show. This is what a good friend does. This was very kind of Scott. He's like, I want you to have that first day with just your family. I want you to have that experience, just you and your girls. Just explore the park. I'll catch up with you the second day, then we'll vacation together and have that time. That was very cool because the first night we were there, we didn't have, you can only get a 5-day ticket. So we had to, we were there for 7 nights. So we didn't have one the first day. So we went to downtown Disney, kind of walked around and went through World of Disney. And, we went into some of the, there's like a surf store. There's a Marceline, kind of like a confectionery, got a Mickey bar. I forgot what I got there or something, got a cake pop or something. So many snacks. I can't remember at this point, but so the thing was though, I told the girls cause they were tired, we'd traveled all day, but I was like, we got to walk up to Disneyland. We were there, we got to walk up to the gates. And I have a great picture, which I have not posted on social media, but I will today. That I did not take. Mallory took it and then she gave it to me because I walked literally up to the gates of Disneyland. Didn't have a ticket for this day, but I have my face pushed against the bars. And I mean, there were almost tears coming out of my eyes, just because that moment had happened finally. I'm 48 years old and I was, face to the bars looking through, and the train was at the train station and I saw that Mickey head that I'd seen in so many pictures. It looks different than Walt Disney World. And I mean, this is the place where Walt was, this is the original. And I had made it, finally. I mean, I don't know if you had that first impression when you got there, Scott, your first time, but I mean, I knew I was going there the next day. I knew I was going there tomorrow, but it was just special to be up to that gate and like, oh my gosh, I'm not watching this on a TV show or some kind of a YouTube video. Like, I couldn't touch it, but I could almost like I could put my hand through the gate, the iron gate. Like I was there. It was a very cool moment.
It's a very cool moment. You sent me that photo, and like I almost cried just looking at the photo. You kind of send it like in a joking form, like just let me in. But like when you think about like the story and like the build up to that very moment, it's very special. And I'm kind of glad you walked down there, and I'm also glad you went to Disneyland Park first. I will say, every time this is the first time I've ever been to Disneyland where I went to Disneyland Park first. I've always gone to DCA first, and the reason being is because the extra magic day. They used to do this like where if you're staying on site, you can get into the parks a little early, and they would alternate days. And our first day was always DCA that could go into the park early. So I'm going to go into the park early. I'm up early. So, but yeah, that was a very cool moment. And then the next day, you finally do get to go to Disneyland, right?
Right, we do. And first thing we did, of course, as soon as we got, and one thing I will say that I really enjoyed, there's so many like minor things that we'll talk about. Obviously, we can't do this in 50 minutes, but I loved how the touch points, like the entrance plaza was small, like it was shorter, like it wasn't as massive as Walt Disney World. It just seemed like more. Again, I talked about this on the Sunday Night Live call-in show, which you might have heard yesterday. It was just comfortable, like it felt this very comforting. It just felt like you're walking through these gates almost as like you were going through almost like a fair instead of a big internationally known theme park. It just felt smaller, and I like that feel. The first thing I did was I was taking a million pictures, and as soon as we got through the touch points, before we even went onto the train station, we we're taking all these selfies in front of the train station, and then I had to take a picture of the plaque, the famous plaque, here you leave today and enter the world of yesteryear, tomorrow, and fantasy. I was like, oh my God, that's the real one. I got a picture of that. And then the first thing, of course, that I had to do was go over directly to the train station and see the train station, with the lamp and everything, get my picture there. That was really emotional for me. But then, of course, I'm like, okay, I'm here before the park opens. We were like one of the first ones there. And so, you're right, though, coming from a different time zone, huge hack for your first day because you're up early and it's not hard. But I had to decide like, what do we want to do first? And everybody give me all this advice. I had like 7,000 pieces of advice of what to do first and when and all this. Dude, I forgot it all at this point. I was in the park and I was like going down Main Street. And I'm like, oh my God, like Main Street feels like similar, but it feels different. And I like the feel of Disneyland's Main Street because it felt more open. It felt more green. Everything was like shorter and smaller, and I said this again, and we're not gonna try to hit everything from Sunday Night Show, but it felt like a combination of the Magic Kingdom and Silver Dollar City. It felt homey, but it felt very like detailed. I mean, the details in Main Street were incredible. I don't know. What do you think about Main Street at Disney? I just love the fonts. I mean, I fell in love with like the fonts.
I like the lights. Like how the lights are better.
The lights,
yes.
Exactly. Yeah, the lights are
like
awesome.
The penny arcade lights, and
yes, I loved all the awnings. I mean, everything like that was awesome. Yeah, Main Street's awesome. So anyway, first attraction that I did at Disneyland, Mr. Toad. Then here's the funny thing. So of course, like they're holding everybody at the hub, right, by the partner statue. And they make the announcement, if everybody comes here, basically don't run and kill anybody. We're turning you loose. But I mean, you hear the announcement like, oh, I'm out here. Like they're letting us go. So everybody goes their way. Some people go towards Frontierland and Adventureland. Some people go right towards Tomorrowland. I'm like, dude, we're storming the castle because I've seen that video so many times. So through the castle, past the carousel, and I'm like losing my mind. I'm like, I don't even know. I couldn't find Mr. Toad. And I loved that moment because I can't have that at Walt Disney World anymore. I just know where everything is because I've been there so many times. There's not a park where I don't know where everything is at this point. And so I love that moment where I turn to Pam and I'm like, I want to do Mr. Toad, but I can't find it. Like, is it over here? Like I saw like, okay, there's Snow White. Oh, there's Pinocchio. There's the carousel. There's Peter Pan. Where's Mr. Toad? I know it's in Fantasyland. And like, I want to do Alice. I don't see Alice either. Like, where's everything? And I'm looking and I see like the storybook boats over there. Like, I want to do those, but I want to do this. Like, I was panicked, but it was a good, like crazy. It was like a kid in a candy store panic. Like, I just couldn't decide. My brain was like, this is so awesome. But then I found Toad, went on it, and it was just incredible. The day rolled from there. But oh my gosh, like it was having that moment for like that first hour in Fantasyland at Disneyland. I mean, it was mind
Yeah,
blowing. Like I still, like, you can't wipe it off my face. It was that fun.
that's so awesome. Their Fantasyland just blows my mind every time. Like I love how yeah, I like how it's symmetrical too. Kind of like when you walk in, you got the carousel like smack in the middle, lined up with the castle. Then you got Snow White and Pinocchio on the left, and you got Peter Pan and Toad on the right, and then it just expands on even further deeper with Dumbo and Alice and everything else. Like that. I mean, I say like Cars Land. We'll talk about DCA too. Like Cars Land is probably like my favorite like land there is in a Disney park that I've been to. But like, there's something to say about that original Fantasyland is so good at Disneyland.
And the thing I noticed too about that, that morning was that for like the first hour almost in Fantasyland, the lines did not build as quickly as they do at World. Like if you turn around in World, like 15 minutes later, everything in Fantasyland is like a 30-minute wait. And I mean, we walked on Snow White, we walked on Pinocchio, we walked on Toad. And the thing was, then we moved on, but the lines don't build as quickly. Now we had Genie Plus for everybody wondering. We had Genie Plus for all 5 days of our tickets. We didn't actually start using Genie Plus until about 10 o'clock because we did not need to. Because the thing is, with Genie Plus, that's different at World is that you can start making your first Genie Plus selection once you tap into the park at Disneyland or DCA.
Right.
But we didn't need to because the times were the exact same times that we were having. And we wanted to wait until the times built out a little bit. We wanted to wait till the times got to like 10 or 10:15 or 10:30. So we weren't really booking things immediately. We were monitoring it. Not a whole lot though. The first hour we're just having fun. The first maybe 90 minutes, but we just kind of went around Fantasyland and just did whatever we wanted. Like we didn't wait for anything. And then, as soon, of course, we hadn't had breakfast yet. So we went and got a cinnamon roll and like a breakfast sandwich at the Jolly Holly Bakery, which I loved. And just kind of, watch people go down Main Street and come in. And the thing that we noticed too, and we kept saying this, that was a little bit different than Walt Disney World. And I don't know why, but it felt like people that we saw for the entire duration of the stay in the theme parks, people out there were just really chill. Like, Walt Disney World at park opening, you see people like breakneck going down Main Street. I mean, it's like a run Disney race, and I'm guilty of this. I'm one of the people. It means like at Disneyland, it was just like
right,
chilling. I'll get there when I get there. Like, I mean, for the most part, like you didn't see anybody that was in a hurry, and I'm like, what is going? We talked about it. Maybe it's because the weather's perfect, like. And it was.
It was.
It was like t-shirts and shorts in the day, and then sweatshirts and shorts in the night. It was perfect. But I did you feel that, Scott? I mean, it felt like everybody's just kind of more chill.
I like the way you say that word. Yeah, everyone's so chill. No one's in a hurry to get anywhere. Like I'll get there when I get there. Like, or even if like it's a longer line, like no one is like, you don't see like anyone like looking at their watch, like getting all antsy in line. Like we did Autopia on the 4th of July, I think, at night before the fireworks. And it was like a 40-minute wait. It took a while, but you know what? Everyone in there was like, everyone was having a good time in that line. Like no one was like complaining about, oh my God, this line is so long, even though that was like the longest line I'd seen all day. Like everyone is just like in good spirits at Disneyland. And you don't see that at World because people are just like, they're on edge. Like I got to get X, Y, and Z done so fast. And like, there's no rush at Disneyland. Everyone's just enjoying the moment. And that's one thing I love. I love like I love cast interaction, but like guest interaction at Disneyland is awesome too. Cause everyone is so chill, as you said.
Yeah, everybody's kind of, it's very communal. Like people are talking to each other in lines, I really like, I mean, I get that at Walt Disney
World. You get it at World, but like
really,
you see more intensity. I feel like in Walt Disney World, like I got to get these 10 attractions done or else my trip is a flop. Where at Disneyland, like if I just walk around and do 2 or 3 things, it was a good day, and that's more my speed.
Right.
And I know it's yours too.
So yeah, exactly. And some of the highlights though for me were the kind of overall were the Fantasyland attractions. Like if you want to ask me what I enjoyed the most, it was the Fantasyland stuff. It was Snow White's Enchanted Tale. I guess that's what they renamed it. The Pinocchio ride, the Alice ride, Mr. Toad. I know I'm getting older, like it's not the thrill attractions as much anymore. I did enjoy really Incredicoaster, did it 3 times over at DCA. We'll talk about that in a minute. I really, that's a great coaster because it's got just enough thrill. It's got, it's got one loop. It doesn't have to turn you upside down 18 times to where you're sick. but it's got speed. It's got a great launch. I mean, it's really got it all. It's a great, great coaster. It's a great just intensity level, I think. Beautiful views. You're looking at mountains when you go over to the big right turn there on the one end of the track. Really enjoy that. But I mean, it's in whole, like just being, and Scott really pointed this out, and I noticed this too once he said that the use of the land in the Disneyland park. Here's one thing I thought going in. I thought Disneyland Park was going to feel small. Like I thought it was going to be like tiny, because it's like everybody says Disneyland's small. So just, temper your expectations here. That park felt huge to me. Like it felt like there was so much going on, and there was. We didn't even go into Galaxy's Edge the entire stay. We never set foot in Galaxy's Edge in 7 or 5 days in the parks. And we had park hoppers, so we were going back and forth because we felt no need. There was so much other stuff to do. And I mean, I don't know, Scott, do you feel the same? Like Disneyland Park, I know is not like footprint huge, but it felt just, there was so much happening. Like there's always like the way they weave the attractions in and out. And even some attractions, like you pointed out, like Alice is on top of Toad. And I'm like, I didn't know that.
It's just smart. And how the Casey Jr. track kind of goes over Storybook, like the use of the footprint is well done. How they do New Orleans Square, how Pirates kind of goes like under like a walking bridge, like they use their square footage so smart in Disneyland. But yeah, it wears you out though. Like as you think it's small, but like there's so much walking. And when you think about walking back from like the resort and stuff, because you don't really drive there. Like once you're there, it's such a walkable park, such a walkable area. You end up doing a lot of walking. And to your point, we never touched Galaxy's Edge. We never touched Toontown because they're refurbing that for Mickey. They're making way for Mickey and Minnie's. So there's 2 huge lands, Mike, that we didn't even like step foot in, and we still were getting like, well, you and I run in the morning, but like our families were getting 20,000 steps every single day, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we walked out that because Lisa's asking in the live chat, did your feet get tired? Dude, my feet are still not recovered. I mean, no kidding. My left knee is, and I twisted it on Goofy Sky School. My foot got stuck, and like you get on, and I shouldn't have ridden this dumb ride. Mallory wanted to ride it. It's like a little kiddie coaster over at DCA, kind of like a little wild mouse thing. But she wanted to ride it, and I'm like, we're riding everything. So we did it. My foot is, I had these big Nikes on. My foot gets wedged in like this middle section, and I can't get my foot out because it's like stuck, because it's just like it's wedged in there. And I think I tweaked my knee trying to get out, because it's like the platform, the car is moving as you're getting in and out of the vehicle. Like it's kind of like Haunted Mansion, where you're moving as you're getting on and off the vehicle. And so I'm like jerking on my foot trying to get it out, and it's a crammed little car, and it's a stupid little roller coaster that I banged my knee on later on the ride itself. It was an abusive ride. I'm going to report this ride. I'm going to call the police on this ride. But I mean, so my knee is really messed up, and my feet are just tore up because the one night we walked out of Disneyland, I looked at my watch because I ran 10 miles in the morning. I was like, I've just passed 20 miles. Like it was crazy. Right. So everybody was walking 10 miles because we'd all walk together. So at least 10 miles. That's insane.
But yeah, and the attractions are well placed too. Like, you get off Pirates and boom, you're right at Mansion. You get off Mansion, boom, you're at Splash Mountain. Like there's not a whole lot of walking necessary between attractions, but there's a lot of walking to get from Tomorrowland over to, and you find yourself doing that all the time. Like I'm going to bounce from Tomorrowland to Adventureland back and forth like 3 or 4 times. Because you're just having fun and you just want to like just explore everything. So you do find yourself doing a lot of walking. I feel like a Disneyland tired is like more tired than a Walt Disney World tired if you're going hard in the attractions. But like kind of near the end of the trip too, Mike. I mean, I know we're bouncing all over a little bit. I know we're not trying to, but like you do end up chilling out a little bit more, right? Like you go hard the first couple of days because you want to do all the attractions, but near the end of the trip, we didn't really need Genie Plus. We used it still, but like we had done everything, so we're trying to take our time and soak in more of the environment, which is like what Disneyland's all about to me.
Yeah, but Genie Plus it was definitely worth it. We both said, we were using it all the time to have something coming up. We just, as soon as we touch the point, what you do is you take your phone and you scan in on the scanner, and that gets you into the Genie Plus line. But then what we did was while we were going through that line, we would see what was available, and we kind of all vote on it. Like, okay, here's the 3 options, here's the times. What do we want to do next? And then we just pick. And so we'd always have something there kind of brewing as we were, riding the next thing. And it worked out great. Your Elizabeth kind of took care of that for us, and we appreciated that.
Yeah, she's she likes to take the point on that. She wants us to always have something to look forward to be doing. She likes to have a plan. So She was
She didn't have any dead time.
Yeah.
Yeah, while we're standing in line, basically, we're virtually standing in line for another attraction, so it's
Exactly.
very, very nice. Okay, so again, it's already 40 minutes into the show, so we're gonna be talking about this again, just like Pam, with the Wish over the next, several weeks as we, go through all these things. If you have questions, again, this is a good time for the listener question shows. But DCA, and I'll be honest about this, I thought this park would be kind of an afterthought, but I really did like DCA. Great attractions, great dining. In this park, I mean, and I know back in its original form was not what it is today, but this park is gorgeous. I mean, it's gorgeous. I mean, it is great. I mean, it's fun to try. I mean, we did Soarin', which is exactly like Epcot, but other than that, fun stuff. The Fun Wheel, which I think has a new name. California Screamin'. I'll say it for you because I know that's what you guys continue to call it, the Incredicoaster. But I mean, the biggest hit for me, two things that just left me, and I think this is true of everybody that goes into DCA, is one, World of Color was an amazing show. I mean, just the visuals. I like the music because we used to play the soundtrack on Magical Mouse Radio, and I'd never seen the show, but I liked it because it was a good compilation of, kind of the age of Disney movies that I grew up with like Paige, kind of like 10, 15 years ago. So I like those songs. But I mean, we got there and we were literally standing on the rail for the show. So we had, again, thanks to Elizabeth, very aggressive in getting our spots. This is where we were aggressive. We got those spots because we had the virtual queue. We waited a long time as the virtual queue opened up. We got right on the rail. And the lady told us, you're going to get wet. We didn't really get wet.
You didn't get wet. Yeah, like we caught a little mist. We got lucky with the wind that night. If it was a windy night, we might have gotten soaked, but
yeah, I mean, I was expecting to be drowned, and we didn't get hardly wet at all. But we were right there. I mean, but God, the colors that they do with this water, like I talked about this. I mean, the water with tubes were so vibrant, and I mean, it wasn't just like for 5 feet up in the air. I mean, you're talking maybe 120 feet up in the air. You would still have a column of purple that was just, I mean, like a marker. It was magical, and the way they danced and moved around. Like I never once thought they should have fireworks. Like at first I thought, oh, it's going to be lacking because it's not a fireworks show. But it was just with the screens and the water in the emotional music and the clips. I love this show.
And there is fire, though. There is not fireworks, but there is fire.
Right. That's true. But also the background with the coaster back there, the Ferris wheel, Mickey on. I mean, it's just, you took some stunning pictures.
Yeah, I was on Instagram. Yeah, so the lighting package is so great. Like, I like that you mentioned the coaster too. Like, it's just everything on that pier is like lit up to like, be themed to the show. But you could be the worst photographer and you can get good shots. Like they do you a big favor by that lighting package. And it's so much fun to take photos. Like I know we all like after the show ended because we saw the second showing, so you can hang out a little bit. They don't really force you out that quickly. And we just stood there for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes doing selfies, getting like boomerangs and reels and all that. Like it is just really fun to take photos of that area. That's one of my favorite things to do.
And so the other thing is just Radiator Springs, Cars Land. I mean, I kept talking to my wife about this, Pam, because we are from St. Louis and Route 66 goes through St. Louis, Sunset Hills down kind of a little bit south of us. They still have some of these old motels that used to be right on Route 66. Coral Gables is one of them. And it's just like, I did like the Cars movie, and I used to play this Cars video game over and over. I told the story about it on Sunday Night Show, so you can check that out on yesterday's replay of that show. But I mean, my brain is still having a hard time processing that we were walking through a physical environment because it looked so much like this movie that I'd seen on TV. I mean, it was so spot on. It shocked me. And I'd seen the pictures for a decade. Like I'd seen these pictures for a decade and I was kind of prepared for it. And then when I got in there, I can't believe how well, even like the pavement, I mean, like the little things, like the tables, like the little cones that were over by the Cozy Cone that they made into planters. I mean, just the detail in this area. This is by far my favorite land of any Disney land they've put together. And I'm including Galaxy's Edge. And I'm a huge Galaxy's Edge fan, but it is just shockingly spot on. I don't know how you feel about Cars Land, but I mean, this is my jam. And the attractions are awesome too. But I mean, just overall, just walking through it, it's unreal.
It takes my breath away. And I've been there several times and it takes my breath away every time I walk through it. when you cut that left, like you see like the billboard sign, which we took some great photos there with a PhotoPass photographer, but you make that left as you're walking in to the billboard, and then like that view of like the mountains and Radiator Springs, you see the traffic light, blinking yellow, and then you see flows to your left, to your right. You got the cozy cone, like everything, and then the cars are going around. You got the vehicles are even driving around. Like you feel like you are in Radiator Springs more than any other land I ever been in. And then I love it when you go down the street, you make that hard right to the attraction, and then like you're in that queue, and then you're looking at the mountains, you hear the cars going around and rumbling, vroom, vroom, vroom. Like I feel like I'm in a movie, Mike, and more than any other land. And I could just spend hours in there. And you talked about it on the live show, like this, you want to talk about it again today, like for other listeners, but like the sunset, like what they do with Shaboom at night is when it hits the sunset, the neon turns on, and it's like staggered how they do it. And it's just one of the coolest things I've ever seen too. And that's just another extra Disney touch that they didn't have to do, but they do it.
Yeah, if you were there and you missed the Shaboom thing, which you just got to be there around sunset. So get there, make sure you're in Cars Land 15 minutes before sunset and just linger. Because this land is stunning during the day, but I mean, when that neon turns on, it is incredible. I mean, and everybody's like, oh, I mean, it's that cool. I mean, so you got to get there, and then it just gets dark quick in Southern California once, and then the whole land just lights up. I mean, it is, I don't know what else you got to see it. I mean, you can't even hardly describe it. It is amazing.
Yeah.
And then the thing is too, like, I love Radiator Springs. You're right. You told me this. You're like, once you do Radiator Springs Racers, it's going to ruin you for Test Track. And it did. I mean, I'm telling you what, like, I like Test Track, but it is so ruined because that ride was so fun with all the story, and like the characters coming out at you, your tractor tipping, and then you're racing another car. And oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah. When we first got on it with you, like, I said, like, Liz says something about when we get inside, and you're like, whoa, wait a second, this ride goes inside.
I thought it was just gonna be outside because so much is outside in California. Yeah. So we did that. And
I have a question for you because I don't even know the answer. So because you wrote it a second time, like we both wrote it twice, but we did it once with our families and once as a group. So there's a spot in that attraction where you kind of split off before you do the race. Did you get the other side with your family?
No, we got the same. We got
dang.
I know we got it. We got, what's his name? Ramon. He spray painted us.
So you didn't get the tire change on the other side.
See, I knew that's what it was because I've been listening ever since I got home. I've been listening to the Disneyland album, which I sent you last night via text, which is on Apple Music. And that's the side that's on that cut for Radiator Springs. It's the tires. It's Luigi. You needed some tires for the race. And so I'm like, oh, that's the other side.
It's kind of cool. Yeah. Cause like how you would change a tire. Ironically, about tire changes recently. You had to kind of like jack up the car, and then like you can like feel like the car like being slanted one way. It's a pretty cool experience. You'll do it next time. You'll do it next time.
But here's the thing, like the minor attractions, like the Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, that was a hoot. And then actually this was a blast, was that Luigi's
Rock and Rollsters,
Roadsters or whatever. We did that, and that ride might be as fun to watch as it is to participate in and be in the car, because how at the very end all these little cute little Italian cars get in sync and they do this little dance. I made a little video on Instagram again, so check it out on my Instagram account. But like you told me that the locals have a thing where at the very end, when they spin, all the locals put their hands up. So of course we had our hands up. We were locals, and it just made you feel like you were part of something. That was a cute attraction. That is a hit. I like that.
Yeah. Such a cute area. I mean, we could spend a whole episode just talking about you, because you've done this, like being stuck in Tomorrowland. Like, could you imagine being stuck in Radiator Springs? I'll be there all day.
We're doing that. Don't worry.
But I mean, there's so many other greats. So for me, the Avengers campus. So they had like the tower, like the Guardians was there and stuff, but this Avengers campus is kind of newer for me. And you kind of talked about this. Like, I know you're not really into like the Marvel movies and all that, but like, I think that area is so cool because you're just walking around, and then boom, Spider-Man's flying like 20 feet in the air, doing some crazy stuff. And then Iron Man's like just hanging out. And like, I just thought that area was so cool. I did do the new attraction. Not my favorite. I was hoping for like being like a new ride, it'd be like, it did have some cool technology, but it just felt like a a weaker version of Toy Story Mania, to be honest. But it's still cool to have like new offerings and new things to do in that park. But Mission Breakout, I tell
So
you,
you're talking real quick.
yeah.
You're talking web.
I was talking about Web Slingers. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was talking about Web Slingers. It's the newer attraction there. It's fun, but as you saw, like the lines are like 60 to 80 minutes, 90 minutes, like that whole week we were there, and already had to pay to do the individual lightning lane. My family did wait to do it because it was new. We wanted to try it, and yeah, it was a fine addition, but just not my favorite thing. But my favorite thing in the area is Mission Breakout, the Guardians. And even hilarious. Yeah, you want to talk about it a little bit? What were your thoughts on that?
No, I liked it. I mean, because again, coming off of Cosmic Rewind in Florida, I kind of knew the characters now. I knew Rocket was going to be funny, and he was kind of the central character of this attraction. And of course, having done Tower of Terror countless times, not a huge Tower fan, but I'll do it once a trip down at World. And this was fun because it gave a new story to an old attraction that I was familiar with. But the music again added a lot of a fun element to it. And of course, the antics that are going on, and you see, I don't know, Peter Quill or whatever guy get his, see him getting his Walkman and all that, all those nods to the 80s that I enjoy and stuff like that, even though I don't really know the story. It was just fun. And actually part of, I'd say 50% of the fun was just the queue and the pre-ride experience, the pre-drop shoot stuff, just looking around at, seeing the Yeti, because you pointed that out, that's the original Yeti, and, this collector collected that. And, it was all that stuff. So it's, again, there's so many details to take in even before you actually get into the vehicle on all these attractions out there.
Yeah. And not to hit so heavy on DCA, because I think I surprised you when I said this, that it's probably my favorite park out of the 6 domestic parks. I mean, and that can always change, right? It kind of depends on your mood, but I always think about that park and like how much I love it. But like we went to Turtle Talk with Crush and had like the greatest time in there. They have actual seating in there, which like with a back. It felt more like a theater. Like that was so awesome. I know you all did Philhar Magic. Like there's so many, like it's not just the roller coaster or Radiator Springs. There's all these like smaller fun attractions too that really just make that park so magical and so many things to do there. You can spend days there for sure.
And a sleeper hit that we really like, our family, at least Pam and Mallory and I, I had never really heard mentioned really ever at DCA, was that Mike and Sully to the Rescue.
Right.
It's a little Monsters Inc. dark ride. And now see, Mallory loved Monsters Inc. growing up. And so this is tucked away back in that far corner of the park, back behind Philhar Magic. And we did this. And we're like, that's a great ride. We ended up doing this ride twice. And there's no wait really for it, hardly at all. And it was it's a cute little dark ride for Monsters Inc. We love that.
It's so awesome. It's got great animatronics. It's a funny story it's telling. Like, it's just kind of like tucked away. Like you don't really think about it. Like, unless if you're looking at a park map, like it's really hard to kind of find sometimes. And that's what I love. Like, what surprised me though, like, so they have like the Little Mermaid ride, which I don't know if you all did that while you were there without us, but it's basically the same exact thing that you see at Magic Kingdom. But that had like a wait of like 45 minutes consistently, which kind of blew my mind. Like I'd rather spend like 30 extra minutes waiting for Radiator Springs than to do the Mermaid attraction. But there's so many things to do there. Like you're talking about the original version of DCA, like where it had like Superstar Limo. Like, I mean, I never visited them, but like I've heard the horror stories about how terrible that park is. And you think about how the 2.0 version is now, it's unbelievable how much that theme park has flipped around. And it's one of the best, my favorite Disney park. It really is.
So we are running long, but we still have so much more to
talk about. Food.
So I know we haven't talked about, we did, the Monte Cristos and Hurricanes at Blue Bayou. We did the Plaza. We did Storytellers. We did the Main Street Electrical Parade dining package. So we got a front row seat for that. We also saw Phantasmic from Frontierland, which was amazing. I mean, we did a lot of other stuff, but I don't want to make the show too long. So we'll do a part 2 of this show coming up very soon. So don't worry about that. But I just don't want to I just don't want to make these shows like two-hour like epics for you. So don't worry. I love talking about Disneyland. Scott is in the live show or in the live chat right now. He has one question. I've got close on this. And he says, Mike, you get Disneyland or you get Magic Kingdom or Epcot, pick one park only. And for me right now, and again, recency bias, but I don't think this is going to change. If I had to pick one theme park, Disneyland is by far my favorite theme park. Like if I had to pick a theme park to go have fun in, there's just so much happening in Disneyland. I mean, they have a nighttime parade, and you can watch a nighttime parade and fireworks and Phantasmic in the same park on a night. And I mean, they have great snacks and they have all these attractions. Indiana Jones, that was an amazing ride. The Jungle Cruise.
Tiki room.
We tiki room while eating Dole Whips while we're sitting in the tiki room. I mean, it's Disneyland's awesome. I mean, again, I'm kicking myself that it took me so long to get out there. I'm so stupid. Why did I wait so long? It was so fun. So anyway, we'll talk more about this. I hope you enjoyed this. I mean, it was all over the place again, but and again, I know you can stay at Good Neighbor hotels and you've done that many times. I really enjoyed my time at the Disneyland Hotel. I don't know if I can, swing this financially to make that happen every time. This was a very special trip. So I did kind of, put off some other things so that we could make this happen. But man, was it cool to be able to walk to those parks and stay in the history of the Disneyland Hotel and get to see I felt the history everywhere I stepped at this place. I mean, I don't know if you still feel it, but I mean, I just felt like I was walking in it. Like what I intentionally, this was an intentional thing. When I was walking down Main Street, I walked down the middle of the train tracks. So I could literally walk down the middle of Main Street.
I love that.
I was walking train tracks. Yeah, it was that crazy.
Yeah, you do feel the history. Like there's so much history to explore. We didn't even explore all the history. That's the thing. And then like another question, I know we're going super long, but like you hear this thought like, oh, I can do Disneyland in 2 days. I can park hop and do everything in 2 days. And you certainly can do that. But I just want to soak it up. I want to go explore more and like go in depth, go deep into gift shops, like just look at everything. That's why I like being there for like 5 or 6 days, because I just like to just soak it all in, sit on a bench for a couple hours with the ice cream and just watch the stage shows and people walking by, take a Main Street vehicle. Like there's so much to do and so much downtime you can have at Disneyland that just makes it so magical. And I'll just kind of end it with that for today.
I still we didn't go to Tom Sawyer Island. We didn't do the Mark Twain. We didn't do the Columbia sailing ship. We didn't do the canoes. And I mean, there's so much that I didn't get to do. I mean, and we were there for 5 days because I didn't want to just make it a checklist. I immediately knew we were going to be back. Like I immediately knew like this is happening again. Don't try to get everything done. Enjoy the stuff you're doing. Slow down, have that ice cream, sit on the curb, watch a parade, and that's what we did. So that was kind of it. So again, I hope you enjoyed this little brief review of, well, not so brief, but a review of our trip. And we'll, cover some more of the stuff we did, like the dining, the special events as we go over the next couple of weeks. But Scott, thanks for hanging out with me and thanks for a great vacation. You were a great host and showed us around and really made this vacation all the more fun for my family. So thanks so much.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you letting me crash it. When you told me that you were booking this, I was on the fence. I was at a Springtime Surprise, I think is when it happened. You sent me the text and I was like, all right, I'm going to be jealous. You go have fun. And you're like, you should join us. I'm like, yeah, are you sure I can join you? And then what did it take me like 48 hours to finally book it? So like I appreciate the invite. And we were talking about the other day, me and my family, like we just like, it's been a while since it was like just our group, my family and your family. We missed Paige, obviously, but like Mallory and Emily got along so great. It was great seeing Pam. I hadn't seen Pam like a year, it felt like, I just felt like the family dynamic was great and I just loved hanging out. And there wasn't a better place to do that. Either Cruise Line or Disneyland. Those are the best places to hang out. And I'm glad we got to do it.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today and being a part of the squad here as we rolled you through a Friday or over the weekend as you're walking the dog, doing the dishes, or maybe going for a run. We always appreciate you downloading the show, and we hope that we put a smile on your face, maybe brought back some great memories of your Disneyland vacations. And if you've never gone, I'm telling you, and I'm not just saying this as a travel agent, I'm saying this as a Disney fan. You got to get out there, whether you book with the Magic for Less or not, get out to Disneyland. You owe it to yourself. I always said, I'm going to be disappointed. It's going to be small. I'm going to get there and be like, oh, it's not Walt Disney World. It's not, but it's such a different experience and it's awesome. So just do yourself a favor. Don't be Mike. Don't wait 15 years to make it happen. Get out there, give it a shot. But anyway, the Magic for Less sponsors us. We'd love to help you plan a Disneyland trip, Walt Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney. You know what to do. Just swing by themagicforless.com, fill out that quote form, mention the show, and we'll be working together. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a sincere thank you to the patrons of the Be Our Guest Podcast. You make all this podcasting possible. You let us put the show out 3 to 4 times all around the world. Couldn't do it without you. And our patrons get that bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every week. If you'd like to join us, please come on over patreon.com/be our guest podcast. Again, you want to see all the pictures that went along with this amazing vacation. Look on Instagram, look for the hashtag BOGP at DL. They're all right there. You can follow Scott at Epscott, EPSCOT. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike, both on Instagram and Twitter. And you can join us this Sunday night, a couple of nights from now. We'll be taking your calls. So if you have any specific questions about Disneyland, about cruise, anything you want to talk about, anything that's in the news, we love taking your calls. So join us this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, your preference, and be a part of the show. We'd love to have you join us there. So until we get back together again this weekend, you guys have a great Friday and an awesome weekend. So for Scott, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Friday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Boom. That was a good one.
I didn't think I was that good. I was like all over the place. I know that wasn't our intention, so sorry about that.
No, that was
I just got excited talking about Disneyland. I just want to be back there.
Me too, man. So do I, man. So do I. Especially when everything started happening last night. I'm like, oh, dude, the air's out, the dog's sick. Paige is on the side of the road.
Yeah, so that's why I talked about the tire change. How is she with her tire or whatever? Everything good?
Oh, the police picked her up and took her to Bloomington. She spent the night at a hotel in Bloomington. And they towed her car till she stayed. The hotel was next door to the car repair place. And so it opened at 7:30 this morning. They fixed the tire and then she drove it straight into work. Okay. She had like a 2-hour drive to Chicago.
Okay. So she's doing all right.
Yeah. Last night was like we're not in Disneyland anymore night. Dude, you're kidding me. Like we have no air. My daughter's stuck on Interstate 55, like crying because she can't, because her car didn't come with a spare tire. I'm like, how's the car not come with a spare tire? And the people told us a lot of new cars don't anymore.
Yeah.
I'm buying you a spare tire. I don't know why you have to do that. I just thought
and then Riley is sick too, sounds like.
Riley's hacking. She's got kennel cough. She's like, she sounds like she has asthma, but we took her to the vet, so now she's got 2 pills we got to give her now.
Wow. So crazy.
It's been a crazy 36 hours. Oh, she doesn't need AAA. She has State Farm roadside assistance, but they were like dropping the ball. They were not answering. They're supposed to get back with us in 20 minutes. It was like 45 minutes. Hadn't heard back. It was just a nightmare last night. And this was all while we were doing the live show.
Yeah. We should have told them like I'm a Walt Disney World annual pass holder. I know you're a sponsor for them now. So I should get some top of the front of the line service here. Come on.
Come on. Just dude, when the air started getting a little cooler last night, I was like, thank God. Because I was about to murder somebody. It was so hot in this house. And then Paige was like all sad. She was stuck in some Super 8 in Bloomington, Illinois.
Yeah.
With a flat tire. I was like, oh, this is brutal.
The FaceTime video was great though with you like in the Jeep with the ice cream. Yeah. This is how I'm
that was the only thing that got us through the night. We got in the Jeep and drove to Dairy Queen because it was so hot in our house we couldn't handle it. We're like, we're getting in the Jeep, we're getting Dairy Queen, throw Riley in the back. It was awesome. Because I didn't know if you were still up because it was after 10.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, hey, appreciate it.
I am tired today.
I'm pooped.
I think I'm gonna do my walk, get something to eat, and then just kick my feet up. I'll probably just fall asleep early tonight. We'll see what happens though.
All right. Well, I'll text you. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you.
All right,
see you, everyone.
See you, everybody. Bye, everybody.